This is the Newzchain Podcast, and today we are counting down our top 7 most inspirational questions from our recent episode. So, where were you guys located when you initially came up with the pitch? Who came up with the pitch of this idea? You know what? Let's come up with a startup. Maybe we can do this. Right? As you said, Anurag had a prior experience in mid-tech. So, was he the one who was like, you know what? I have something. Can we develop this into an idea?
So when this idea first came about, we were at our respective homes because it was the lockdown. And so we used to be on very long Zoom calls, Google Meets, all of that. The idea was sort of a mix. I think one thing led to the other. It was the three of us brainstorming around diagnostics. What can we build? And it was no one particular eureka moment kind of a thing, but a lot of discussions, deliberations, that we had to see if this is even feasible. Whatever we are dreaming about, can we even build this? So yeah, it's been I don't remember one moment or one eureka moment, but I remember we had this discussion late night, and the entire night we were on a Zoom call and we started dreaming about what things could become if we were able to execute this problem.
Was there any expectation even back then that they would be like, you know what, do it in India right now and then come back here, like the Silicon Valley, and then set up here instead of Bombay where you did correct?
No, absolutely not. I think YC, they are looking at the entire world. It's not that they're just looking at North America or the US where they want to solve problems. They realize that different regions have different kinds of problems. Hence, when you look at YC, you'll get startups from all around the world. So they understood the problem that we are trying to solve is a much bigger problem in India. So yeah, they were extremely happy with that.
One thing that from my perspective, I can see would have been difficult for you guys would be the Indian healthcare policies and getting your product approved. How did that go? I guess the prior experience in mid-tech would have been really helpful for you guys. So can you walk me through that? Like, how did?
No, you're absolutely right. I think Anurag's experience was invaluable because let's say me and Prateek, we come from a non-healthcare background completely. We have not worked in the space at all. So being an outsider, it's like a complete black box. Yes, there are several regulations, there are several approvals that you need to take, validation studies and all of that. But Anurag has done these things earlier, so that was definitely a huge help. So our core product is a test card like this. I don't know how clearly you can look at it. So there's a test card. Now this comes under a medical device. Although there's no electronics, nothing at all, but it still comes under a medical device, which under the Indian law falls under CDSCO. They are the medical device regulating body in India. So we have to get an approval from them. We have to do a validation study, several other certificates, drug licenses that we need to get in place before we can even start selling this. So yes, we have gone through that journey. It's been a very interesting journey. You learn along the way how you can be quicker the next time. So now as we are making more products, things have become relatively simple for us.
What are you doing for marketing currently? Amidst the current competition that you have, because not exactly the innovative product that you have, but there's still like bigger pharmaceutical companies which have some established products in the market. How do you deal with that kind of competition without the marketing that is expected of a startup such as yours?
So I think one way is to understand all the different stakeholders in the system and to understand how to align with each one of them. So for example, I told you we realized very early on that we need doctors to support this product. If doctors love this test, if they look at the value in this test, ultimately it will trickle down to their patients. Now, there are more than 10 lakh doctors in India. Now, how do we reach to lakhs of doctors on our own? One way is we set up our own sales force, across India, very expensive affair. We don't know if that will work out well or no, all of that. Second way is to figure out, can there be smarter ways of reaching to doctors? The smarter way is working with various pharmaceutical companies. Because pharmaceutical companies have huge fleet of medical representatives. Now, if you have to work for pharma companies, they need to see benefit in this. So I'll take example of chronic kidney disease. Now, everyone who's a diabetic or a hypertensive is at a risk of developing chronic kidney disease, which is also, the acronym is CKD. A lot of times there are no early symptoms, so people don't realize. What happens as a result of this is, when by the time people realize, it might be too late, dialysis, renal failure, all of that. So now another flip side is, if people don't realize this early, doctors don't prescribe medicines early. If doctors don't prescribe medicines early, people buy less medicines. Hence, the sale of pharma companies is limited. So, if you understand the model, if more and more people get tested for their kidney, more will be identified and early diagnosis will happen. More doctors will write prescriptions. More medicines will be sold. So, we created this entire cycle wherein the patients are being benefited, the pharma companies are being benefited, because they want the market to grow. So hence we have partnered with pharma companies. We're working with several of them. We're working with AstraZeneca, Bayer, Sun Pharma, Cipla, Intas, RPG, multiple of them, and we are just we're talking to more of them now. And we work with them very closely in order to get more and more people tested. We are seeing in diabetics around a 38% abnormality rate for chronic kidney disease. So pharma companies are realizing this is a great way to expand their market. Doctors are happy because we are able to identify their patients early, and patients are of course happy. We are helping them save money ultimately, because we help identify CKD, chronic kidney disease, at a stage when it's still reversible. Otherwise they'll have to go through dialysis.
So can you share some statistics based on the growth that Neodocs has seen over the last couple of, not months, but okay, wait, it's been 2 years since you started, right? So yeah, last few quarters, what's the customer numbers are like?
So the first 1 year we didn't go commercial. We did some beta pilots, R&D, getting the licensing in place. This will be our first year that we'll complete when we have been commercially available. We have done more than 2.5 lakh tests till now. The number is growing, the number of partnerships. I named a few pharma companies we've partnered with. We're doing more projects with the government. Apart from this, we're working with several other healthcare companies as well. So that's also growing. Our Amazon is growing. Very soon you'll find us on Blinkit, Zepto, Instamart also. So that will also grow. This year, we'll close our revenue at nearly about 4 crores. So, very pumped about this. I think it's been a good year, lots of learnings for us. We've made multiple mistakes, but then what fun without mistakes? So we learn from mistakes. Next year, ambition is super high. We'll be covering more than 15 lakh tests in next year. So that's the target that we've taken upon ourselves.
Since we were talking about R&D, what is next, like in means of products that you guys are planning to launch?
So very soon we are launching a range of fertility tests. Now, all of us, are you married? Even I'm not married, but I'm sure you might have friends, cousins, or you've heard about infertility rising. IVF centers are coming up. There have been a whole lot of nutraceutical solutions around fertility.
Declining health in particularly males and females with the lifestyle that we're leading now.
Absolutely. So we look at fertility as a huge market. And not just women. We're looking at male fertility also. So going ahead in the near term, in the next 3 to 4 weeks, you'll see us launch multiple products in the fertility space. So that is one. Extremely excited about that. After that, we are working on a ton of things at the back end. We are working on HbA1c for diabetes. We're working on lipid profile for heart. We're working on cardiac. We're working on testosterone, which a lot of gym goers would like to track. So these are some of the things that we're working on. The idea is to create many tests on the phone, so you can carry your lab in your pocket wherever you go.
How do you like present the same ideas that you have, the ideology your product builds, right, to a customer in general? You know what, you can use this in the privacy of your home. We are enabling you to do that. How do you convey that? Like, is it like something that you want to market? Is it something that, I don't know, like, what do you plan on doing?
So Akshat, we do a mix of B2B and B2C. When it comes to B2B, there are several other companies that are working in the men's health space. So we partner with them. They already might be having thousands or lakhs of active customers. So we partner with them, we share margins, but the product reaches the end consumer's home. So that is one way that we do things. Second way is, of course, we try and get into the homes via the women. So a lady might be much more open to looking. So generally women do ovulation tracking. Ovulation tests are basically tests that help you identify the most fertile days of the month. Now if we get that customer, we can use that customer to push the product for her partner as well. And third is, yes, we'll be doing some bits of marketing, yet to figure out what will be the exact tagline, the exact strategy when it comes to that, where will we be spending. But it will be a mix of these three things that we do.
If you want to watch or listen to the full episode, you can find us on all audio and video platforms out there. We release new episodes every Wednesday and Saturday. So subscribe and follow us for more updates and other fun releases.